Okay, thank you for that. In fact, Sumita also caught up with IIT Madras Global Research Foundation CEO Madhav Narayan. In fact, he shares that 4 states from the US are interested in having India's deep tech startups, and that the summit provides a platform to Indian companies to get market access. Have a listen.
India has built this in the last few years, realizing that there is an increasing need for deep tech startups, and that's a great initiative from the government of India. That's totally appreciated. And so the different programs, the different funds that have been created to fuel the deep tech startup ecosystem and the community is definitely very, very important. But at the end of the day, all of this is great to take what is in the lab to market, but then how do you grow in the market? Now that is where, as I mentioned in my speech, USA provides that market that is willing to adopt new technology, embrace new technology, which is what the startups want.
Okay, so when you meet investors over here, what is it that they're looking at, especially when it comes to investing in Indian startups? Because we are the 3rd largest startup capital in the world, and of course there is economies of scale. There is a huge domestic market as well. But often startups complain about, or often startups feel that capital diversification that needs to happen because there is that sort of limit that they feel.
Absolutely.
So what are investors you're looking at before investing in an Indian startup, and what is the sense that you get from here for India's startup community?
Yeah, capital is one piece of it, but then the knowledge to understand what these deep techs have in terms of product and solution is super critical. Now that is something that is available here. Secondly, as far as the investors are concerned, they definitely want these startups to have a local presence. And that is where IITM Global comes in, because it's able to bring these startups, make them establish subsidiaries, and we have established partnerships that will help them accelerate to incorporate. And we already have one which has already moved. Even before coming to SelectUSA, one of our startups has already moved, gone into the Menlo Park facility, is incorporated, has won 5 customers in exactly 2 weeks' time.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so that is it's a real example of whatever we wanted to do is today a reality, right?
Right. Just one final question, Narayan, and this essentially is about the tech push that's being given via the India-U.S. partnership. This is also via a trade deal which got finalized earlier this year. And of course, now there are negotiations happening once again for the final signing of the deal. While tech is one of the critical corners, right? I mean, we have signed the Pax Silica as well. We're part of that initiative. But when you look at in concrete terms, what can the Indian tech community hope to achieve? Why are the kind of partnerships that we are striking with the United States?
So actually the fact is that India has the talent. India has obviously embraced innovation, because India has embraced innovation out of compulsion. It is not out of wanting to innovate. There is no option. So Indian innovation has got its roots in the environment that is fueling or compelling people to innovate. So that is something everybody has realized. And that's obviously, from the US perspective, is something that's very interesting. So that's where the innovation corridor has been built. And I think, as I mentioned in my speech also, innovation has got no boundaries. There is no geography, right? And that's what this is going to drive. I think this is going to actually fuel, as was mentioned by some of the earlier speakers, including from the government out here, is that I think it's going to strengthen further and further. This innovation corridor will only grow.
Okay, very interesting interaction there. What we'll do is slip into a very short break, continue coverage on the other side. Stay with us here on ET Now.